Good morning, students. Today our topic is refraction of light at curved surfaces. Before starting this topic, first let us recall refraction of light at plane surfaces. When a light ray is incident at a plane surface and if the light ray is traveling from rarer to denser at the point of incidence, then the ray will bend towards the normal when it is traveling from rarer to denser. In the same manner, if a light ray is traveling from denser to rarer medium at the point of incidence, then it moves away from the normal. Right? Now, let us see how a light ray will deviate at the curved surfaces. Right. Now look at the curved surface separating the two mediums. Let it be rarer medium and let it be denser medium. And this is the optic center or nothing but pole you can call. And if any light ray and for this curved surface there will be a center of curvature called C. If any light ray is incident in such a manner that the light ray is appear to be passing through center of curvature, then you don't observe any deviation. Here you don't observe any deviation. If any light ray is incident such that it is appear to be passing through center of curvature, then after refraction we don't observe any deviation. Right. Next, another ray we can see any ray passing through principal axis. Here also you don't observe any deviation. Right. Now let us see how a light ray will deviate when it is traveling from rarer to denser or from denser to rarer. Now let us see if a light ray is traveling parallel to the principal axis and it is traveling from rarer to denser medium and it is traveling parallel to principal axis, then how it is going to deviate. So before that we should draw the normal to a curved surface. Right, how to draw the normal to the curved surface at the point of incidence? At the point of incidence, from the point of incidence to the center of curvature, if you draw a line, just I am going to show you with the help of a dotted line. This dotted line is the normal. Then when a light ray is traveling from rarer to denser, then it moves towards the normal. Right? Towards the normal means it moves towards the normal. Right. Now let us see in this case. Now here, if a light ray is traveling from denser to rarer medium and it is passing parallel to principal axis, then how it is going to travel? Again we have to draw the normal. Now from the point of incidence to center of curvature, if I draw a normal, and this is the normal line, from denser to rarer it moves away from the normal. Away from the normal means, right, in this manner the light ray gets refracted when it is traveling from denser to rarer medium. One thing remember, in these both cases, here the light ray is incident on the convex surface, right, and it is traveling from rarer to denser medium, and the condition is it is traveling parallel to principal axis. Then it bends towards the normal. In this case, the light ray is incident on the concave surface parallel to principal axis, traveling from denser to rarer medium. When it is traveling from denser to rarer medium, it moves away from the normal. Right. Now let us see the another two cases. Now here you observe the light ray is traveling from denser to rarer medium, but it is incident on which surface? Convex surface. Now where is the normal? At the point of incidence to center of curvature. If you draw a dotted line, then this will be acting as normal. Whenever a light ray is traveling from denser to rarer, it moves away from the normal. Away from the normal means, in this manner the light ray gets deviated. Right. Now in this case, if you observe, The light ray is traveling from rarer to denser medium parallel to principal axis. But observe here, the light ray is incident on concave surface. Now let us draw the normal at the point of incidence. Point of incidence to center of curvature. If you draw a line, then this dotted line will act as normal. Rarer to denser, it moves towards the normal. Towards the normal means it deviates in this manner. Right. Now let us learn about curved surface formula. So what is curved surface formula? Let us see with a diagram. Now you can see a curved surface separating the two mediums, rarer medium and denser medium. Now I have placed an object on the principal axis. The object is at a rarer medium. Now let us consider two rays. One ray passing through principal axis. Already I said, if any ray traveling parallel through the principal axis, then there will be no deviation, right? And another ray I am going to select, and a ray incident on the curved surface. Now here you can see the ray is traveling from rarer to denser, right? Rarer to denser, it moves towards the normal. So towards the normal, where is the normal? Point of incidence to center of curvature. Have drawn a normal. This is a dotted line to represent the normal. Now it moves towards the normal. Towards the normal means the light ray gets refracted in this manner. Now here you can see both the refracted rays met at this point. Nothing but the image is formed here. The image of this object is formed here. Right. Now let us see. This is called pole. Pole to object, we call this as object distance denoted by U. Pole to center of curvature, we call this distance as radius of curvature. And from pole to image, we call it as image distance, right? And let the refractive index of the rarer medium is N1 and the refractive index of the denser medium is N2, right? Now, what is curved surface formula? Curved surface formula is the formula which relates N1, N2, U, R and V. What is that formula? Let me write. The formula is N2 minus N1 by R is equals to N2 by V minus N1 by U. Right. Nothing but N2 by V minus N1 by U is equals to N2 minus N1 by R. We call this formula as curved surface formula. Now you may get one doubt. Can we use this curved surface formula for plane surfaces? Yes, we can use it. For plane surfaces, radius of curvature we should take it as infinity. Right? When you keep in place of R infinity, 1 by R, nothing but 1 by infinity becomes 0. Nothing but the right hand part will become 0. Then what you will get? N2 by V minus N1 by U, you will get 0, and you will get N2 by V, it is equal to N1 by U. This is the formula for plane surfaces. Good morning, students. In the previous class, we learnt about refraction of light at curved surfaces. We have seen some ray diagrams, how the light ray refracts when it is passing from rarer to denser and rarer to denser and denser to rarer at curved surfaces. Now, and already we learnt about curved surface formula and plane surface formula. Now let us learn some examples regarding curved surface formula and plane surface formula. Now first let us see what is curved surface formula. The curved surface formula is N2 by V minus N1 by U is equals to N2 minus N1 by R. We call this formula as curved surface formula. We can use this formula for plane surface also. The plane surface formula is N2 by V is equal to N1 by U. We call this formula as plane surface formula. how you got this plane surface formula? In place of r, if you keep infinity, then you will get the plane surface formula. Now let us learn some examples regarding these formulas. Now let us see the first example. Here you can see the first example. A bird is flying vertically down towards a pond to catch the fish. The bird is in the air medium and its refractive index is 1, and the fish is in water. Let its refractive index is n, and let its value is 1.5 approximately. Right. Now my question is, how the bird will appear to the fish? How the bird will appear to the fish? My question is whether the bird appear nearer to the fish or farther from the fish. Okay. Let us assume let the object distance be x. Let this bird be the object, and where is the image? Let us assume the bird image is here. I don't know whether the image distance is greater than the object distance or not. Now I have to put it. Right. Now here you can see. Now that which formula we have to use? We have to use the plane surface formula. Now from the object the rays are coming in this direction, and this is the optics center. Right. Now what is the plane surface formula? Plane surface formula is n2 by v is equals to n1 by u. Right. Here the object what is n1? N1 value is 1, n2 value is n, object distance is x, and image distance is y. But object distance and image distance we should take it as minus because of sign conventions. We are measuring in opposite direction to the incident ray, hence we should take it as negative. Now let us substitute these values in this. N2 value is n, v value is minus y, n1 is 1, u value is minus x. Right. If you cross multiply, you will get minus y equals to minus nx, minus minus cancel, y equals to mx. You got this equation, but remember one thing, remember here, n value is more than 1, that is 1.5 you think, then what will happen? You will get y is always greater than x, nothing but y is always greater than x. So we can say that for the fish, the bird will appear farther away from the actual distance. Farther away from the actual distance. Now, one more thing let me tell you. For us, that is for observer on the ground, the bird is at this position. But for the fish, the bird is at this position. But for the bird to reach the pond, let the time taken by it is t. Let the time taken by it is t. Right. But for the observer on the ground, that is for us, it is taking time t to travel the distance x. But for the fish, it is traveling the distance y in time t only. So that means for the fish, how the bird will appear? The bird will appear that it is coming faster than the actual distance. Faster than the actual distance. Right. Now let us see the second example. Here you can see a transparent sphere made up of glass, and before that an object O is placed on the principal axis, and the sphere radius of curvature is r, and its refractive index is m. Now my question is, at what distance we have to place the object from the sphere, from the first surface, so that the image, that is the real image, should form from the second surface at the same distance. At the same distance. At what distance I want to find? So my question is to find x. To find x. Right. Now for this what I am going to do, from the object I must select two rays incident on the first surface. What are the two rays? One ray passing parallel to principal axis, and another ray I am incidenting on the first surface. Then the image, to form the image from the second surface at the same distance, the ray should travel parallel to the principal axis inside the sphere, and after refraction the image will form. Right. Now let us consider only one surface. If I consider only one surface, and here is the object, and object distance is x, and from the object two rays are falling, and the reflected rays are parallel, then what I can tell, here the object is in the air, so that the refractive index is 1, and the refractive index of the sphere is, I am calling it as n2. And what about the image distance? The image distance is infinity. Why? The rays are parallel, hence I should take V as infinity. Right. Now which formula I must use here? And its radius of curvature is r. So, and its radius of curvature is r. Right. Now I must use which formula? Curved surface formula. So what is curved surface formula? N2 by V minus N1 by U equals to N2 minus N1 by R. Now let us substitute all these values. What is N2? N2 is N, and image distance is infinity. Image distance is infinity. N1 is 1, and object distance is x, and N2 is N minus 1 by, and radius of curvature is R. Now I must calculate x value. So 1 by infinity is 0. Nothing but this value will become 0. Minus, and here you can see object distance, I must take it as minus x. Object distance I should take it as minus x. The reason is we are measuring in opposite to the direction of the incident ray, hence minus x. So minus of minus, it will become plus 1 by x equals to n minus 1 by r. So you got 1 by x equals to n minus 1 by r. If you reciprocate, what you will get? X equals to r by n minus 1. So at this distance, if we place the object from the sphere, then the image will also form at the same distance from the second surface of the sphere. And one thing remember, here object distance is depending on the refractive index of the sphere. Right? Now let us see the third problem. Here you can see again a transparent sphere. Now the object is at the center of the sphere. Now my question is, when we observe this object from the outside, how the image will appear? Whether the object distance and image distance will be same. Nothing but the image will appear at the same position or not, we have to check it. Right. For this, let me complete the diagram. Let the radius of curvature of this sphere is r, and the object is at this position, and where the object is there, we should take that refractive index as n1. So refractive index of the sphere is n, and we are outside. When we are outside, the refractive index of the outside is, already you know it, we are in the air medium, I am calling it as 1. Right. Now here what is the object distance? So object rays are coming in this direction, we are measuring in opposite direction, so we should take it as minus r. And what about, we have to find V is question mark. And what is radius of curvature? Radius of curvature also we are measuring in opposite direction, hence we should take it as minus r. And V we have to find, n1 is n and n2 is 1. Now let us substitute all these values in curved surface formula. What is curved surface formula? N2 by V minus N1 by U equals to N2 minus N1 by R. So N2 value is 1 by V minus N1 is N by U value is minus R equals to N2 is 1, N1 is N by minus R. So 1 by V minus into minus plus N by R equals to, if you send minus to numerator, then it will become as N minus 1 by R, 1 by V, N minus 1 by R, I am sending this to right hand side, minus N by R So 1 by V. If you take LCM, it is R, n minus 1 minus n minus n cancels out. You are getting 1 by V equals to minus 1 by R. Nothing but V equals to minus R. Nothing but here what you are getting? V you are getting minus R. U also minus R. Nothing but object and image position is the same when we are looking outside to this object. Right? Thank you. And one more thing here important. Here object distance and image distance is not depending on the refractive index of the sphere. Right. Good morning students. Today our topic is about spherical lenses. First of all, let us know what do you mean by lens. Lens is nothing but it is a transparent medium. And it should have two surfaces bounded by two surfaces, and in these two surfaces at least one surface must be curved or nothing but spherical. Then we can call it as a lens. Lens is a transparent medium bounded by two surfaces in which at least one surface must be curved or spherical. Then we call it as a lens. Spherical lenses are two types. They are convex lens and concave lens. Concave lens is also called converging lenses. Concave lenses are also called diverging lenses. Now let us see the types of convex lenses. The first one is double convex lens. In double convex lens you can see two surfaces are convex, and another lens is plano-convex, and the third one is concavo-convex lens. Right? Types of convex lenses. The first one is double convex lens. Second one is plano-convex lens, and the third one is concavo-convex lens. Now let us see the types of concave lens. Concave lens, the first one is double concave lens, and the second one is plano-concave lens, and here it is convexo-concave lens. So these are the types of lenses we can observe. So let us learn the terms related to convex lens and concave lens. Here you can see a convex lens. Convex lens has two curved surfaces. The first curved surface is a part of a sphere. Second curved surface is also a part of a sphere. Hence, a lens will have two center of curvatures. This center of curvatures are nothing but center of the spheres. Right? And the joining, here you can see A and B. If I join this A and B, we call this as called aperture. And the midpoint of the aperture is called optic center. Right? Next you can see in case of concave lens also, even concave lens is also having two curved surfaces, nothing but two parts of a sphere. Hence it will also have two center of curvatures, and the AB is called aperture and the midpoint of the aperture is called optic center. and the line joining the center of curvatures through the optic center is called principal axis. Here also you can see the principal axis. And here once again you observe the convex lens. Convex lens will have optic center, center of curvatures, right? And suppose if I incident some parallel lines passing incident on the convex lens passing parallel to principal axis, then they will converge at a point. We call that point as focus, and this is called principal focus. First principal focus. And here also you may have a focus, and this is called second principal focus, and this is called real focus, and this is called virtual focus. And even in case of concave lens also you may observe two focus, and here it is optic center, center of curvature C2 and C1. If I incident some parallel lines, then what is going to happen? They are going to diverge, but these diverging rays appear to be coming from a point, because this point as focus. And here also you may observe another focus, but here F1 is called virtual focus, right? And here this F1 is called first principal focus, and this is called second principal focus. Only one thing you remember, students, carefully. Here I called as C1 and here I called as C2, but here I called C1 and C2. The reason is, what is the reason? The first curved surface center is called first center of curvature, hence I called here it as C1. Here you can see this is the first curved surface, so here I called it as C1. So due to this reason, convex lens will have two center of curvatures, two focuses, and here also you can see for concave lens two center of curvatures, two focuses, right? And let us learn some more terms. The distance between the optic center and the focus is called focal length, and the distance between the optic center and the center of curvature is called radius of curvature. Here also you can see the same manner. Now let us learn about the formation of image by spherical lenses. Before learning about the formation of image by spherical lenses, first let us learn the rules. What are the rules? Before learning the rules, first I must tell you one thing. What this lens? This lens is called convex lens. Now onwards, convex lens is denoted in this manner. The symbol of convex lens is this is the one. And for concave lens, the symbol is inverted arrow marks. So these are the symbols for convex lens and concave lens. This is the symbol for convex lens, and this is the symbol for concave lens. Right. Now let us draw the rules for convex lens. What are the rules for convex lens? Now this is the convex lens. If any ray is incident on the convex lens parallel to principal axis, then it passes through focus. This is the first rule we have to remember. Now the second rule is, if any ray passing through optic center, then you don't observe any deviation. The ray goes as it is. Here you don't observe any deviation. Right? Now the third rule is, if any ray passing through principal axis Here also you don't observe any deviation. So these are the rules for convex lens. Now let us see the rules for concave lens. Concave lens. So the first rule is, if any ray passing parallel to principal axis, then it will diverge in such a manner that it is appear to be coming from focus. Right? This is the first rule. Now the second rule is, if any ray passing through optic center, no deviation after refraction. Right? And the third rule is, if any ray passing through principal axis, here also you don't observe any deviation in case of concave lens. Right? Once again, let us see the rules for convex lens and concave lens. In case of convex lens, if any ray passing parallel to principal axis, then after refraction it passes through focus. Any ray passing through optic center, no deviation. Any ray passing through principal axis, no deviation. In case of concave lens also, if any ray passing parallel to principal axis, it will diverge in such a manner that it appeared to be coming from focus. Any ray passing through optic center, no deviation. Any ray passing through principal axis, here also you don't observe any deviation. So these are the rules which will help us to draw the ray diagrams for formation of image by these spherical mirrors. Now let us see some more rules in spherical mirrors. Now here you can see convex lens. If any ray passing through focus and incident on the convex lens, then after refraction they will become parallel to principal axis. Right? If any ray passing through focus, incident on the convex lens, after refraction they will become parallel to principal axis. In case of concave lens, if any ray incident on the focus, nothing but they are appear to be passing through focus, then after refraction they will become parallel to principal axis. Here you can see the rays are incident such that they are appear to be passing through focus, but after refraction they will become parallel to principal axis. Right? Now in these cases you can see the rays are passing through focus and appear to be passing through focus. Now let us see another important rule. Now you can see the rays. Here you can see the rays. Some parallel rays are incident on the convex lens, but they are not parallel to principal axis. Then what will happen? Here also the rays which are parallel, they will converge, but they will not converge at the focus, but they will converge at a point on the plane of the focus. Nothing but the plane passing through focus is called focal plane. Now at a point on the focal plane, all these rays are going to converge. So how to draw this diagram? Just look at it carefully. The ray passing through optic center, first you have to extend it. Where they are going to meet, at that point all the rays are going to converge. It's very simple to draw this diagram. Once again, the parallel rays incident on the convex lens which are not parallel to principal axis, they will converge at a point on the focal plane. Right. In case of concave lens, if some parallel rays are incident, then here what is going to happen? I said already, any rays incident on the concave lens, they will diverge. But how they will diverge? First of all, we have to draw the focal plane on the principal focus, that is first focus. First I am going to draw the focal plane, right? And the ray passing through optic center, no deviation, and the point passing through optic center and the focal plane, where they are going to meet at that point. From the point to the point of incidence, if you join a line and you extend it, then these are the refracted rays. So in this manner the rays get diverging, right? Good morning, students. In the previous class we learnt about the rules for drawing the ray diagrams for convex lens and concave lens. Now let us see the formation of image by convex lens. Look at the first diagram. The first diagram I have showed you the convex lens. Now the object is at infinity. If the object is at infinity, the rays are coming parallel and are incident on the convex lens, and after refraction they are converging at a point called focus. So at the focus the image is formed, and the nature of the image is real, inverted and point size. Right. Now look at the second diagram. In the second diagram, object is beyond C. Now a ray is incident parallel to principal axis. After refraction it passes through focus, and another ray passing through optic center, no deviation, and both the refracted rays met at a point, and the image is formed between F and C. And the nature of image is real, inverted, diminished. Diminished nothing but the size of the image is less than the size of the object. Right? This is the second ray diagram. Now you can look at the third ray diagram. In the third ray diagram, object is placed on C. Again I have taken a ray parallel to principal axis. Then after refraction it passes through focus, and another ray passing through optic center, no deviation, and image is formed on C. So the nature of image is real, inverted and same size. Same size nothing but object size and image size is same. Now look at the fourth diagram. The object is placed between F and C. Again I have taken a ray parallel to principal axis. After refraction it passes through focus, and again another ray passing through optic center without any deviation. After refraction both the rays met at a point, and the image is formed beyond C. And here you can see the image is real, inverted nothing but you can see the inverted image, and the image is magnified, nothing but the size of the image is greater than the size of the object. Now look at the fifth case. In the fifth case, object is placed on focus. Again I have taken a ray parallel to principal axis, then it passes through focus. Another ray passing through optic center, no deviation. But here observe, the refracted rays are parallel, nothing but the image is formed at infinity, and the image is real, inverted and highly magnified. Now look at the sixth case, very important case. Object is placed between optic center and focus. I have taken a ray parallel to principal axis. Then after refraction it passes through focus. Again I have taken another ray passing through optic center, no deviation. But observe the refracted rays, they are appear to be diverging. So when I extend them back, they are coming from a point. There you will get the image. But here observe, the image is formed same side of the lens, nothing but the image is virtual, erect and highly magnified. Nothing but the size of the image is greater than the size of the object. Right. Now let us see the formation of image by concave lens. Here you can see the concave lens. Now the object is at infinity. Then the rays are diverging, but they are appear to be coming from focus. So image is formed at virtual focus, and the image is virtual, erect, and highly diminished. Nothing but very smaller in size. Next, look at the second diagram. You can trace the object between infinity and the lens. Anywhere you can trace. Now I have placed it between C and F, but you can place anywhere. Then now a ray incident parallel to principal axis. Then the ray is diverging, appear to be coming from focus. Another ray incident at the optic center, but no deviation. Then both the rays met at this point, and the image is formed between object and the lens. And the image is smaller in size than the object, hence the image is virtual, erect and diminished. One thing remember, concave lens always forms virtual image, right? Now let us learn about lens formula. The lens formula is 1 by f equals to 1 by v minus 1 by u, where u is called object distance, v is called image distance, f is called focal length, right? Next let us see magnification for the lens. Magnification nothing but it is the ratio between height of the image to the height of the object, and another formula is v by u. One thing remember students carefully, for the lens m is just v by u, but for the mirrors it is minus v by u. For the lenses it is just v by u, it is plus v by u, right? Next let us see lens maker formula. Lens maker formula is 1 by f equals to n minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Here what is f? Focal length. N is the refractive index of the lens. R1 and R2 are the radius of curvatures of the lens. Lens will have two radius of curvatures, hence R1 and R2 are the radius of curvatures of the lenses. Now let us learn about the sign conventions for the spherical lenses. Now here you can see convex lens. In convex lens, just now we have seen the ray diagrams for the convex lens. An object is placed before the convex lens, real image is formed other side of the lens, right? But virtual image will form same side of the lens, right? So what are sign conventions? All the distances are measured from the optic center, and the second one is the distance measured opposite to the direction of incident ray. Incident ray direction is this one. Now you are measuring in opposite direction, so object distance is negative. And what about the image distance? Image distance you are measuring in same direction for real image, so v is positive for real image, and you are measuring in opposite direction for virtual image, hence v is negative for virtual image. And what about the focal length? This is the real focus, hence you are measuring in same direction, so focal length is positive for convex lens. In the same manner for concave lens, all the distances are measured from the optic center, so if you are measuring in the direction opposite to the direction, it is negative. So optic center to image you are measuring in opposite direction, so u is negative. And image also you are measuring in opposite direction, so v is also negative. And it forms always virtual image, and it has virtual focus as first principal focus, so even focal length is also negative for concave lens. Don't forget, focal length is positive for convex lens, focal length is negative for concave lens, right? Now let us see lens maker formula once again. 1 by f equals to n minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. While using this formula, you may have some doubts regarding r1 and r2. Whether r1 we have to take positive or negative, r2 positive or negative in case of lenses. Now let us see. Suppose if you are using this lens maker formula for convex lens, see look at the thing carefully, diagram carefully. for the convex lens, this is the first surface. So F1 and C1 will be here. So R1 will be here, right? And this side will be R2. So if you are measuring in same direction of the incident ray, you are measuring in the same direction of the incident ray, that is R1. R1 nothing but distance between optic center and center of curvature. So you are measuring in same direction. So R1 we should take it as positive, and R2 you are measuring in opposite direction. So R2 you should take it as negative. In case of concave lens, look at the things carefully. This is the first surface. So F1 and C1 will be here. So the distance between O and C1 will be R1. So you are measuring in opposite direction. So R1 will be negative. And what about R2? R2 will be positive. Right. Thank you.